these last couple of days and weeks, several Final Fantasy XIV streamers got banned for using add-ons, and there's some ban train going on. And it's like really dangerous these days in Final Fantasy XIV to use any add-ons. And today we are going to find out the truth behind those bans. And be careful, guys. Like, if you're using any add-ons, be very secretive about it, or better not use any add-ons. That way you're totally safe.
Before I get into my rant, I have to let you all know I have no add-ons whatsoever.
Same here. I'm not using any.
I have no idea what an ACT even is. What is that? A fucking standardized test? Is that a disease? Is that something I should know about? Well, either way, I don't fucking have any clue. Sunchild June, is that a monitor you're using right now? Sounds kind of third party to me. Fuck, they're right. I have a third-party tool I'm using right now. Shit, report me. I deserve it. Xeno's already went into how the wording of their announcement was sort of super-duper vague. And it's understandable why it's vague. It would take them forever to sit down and list everything that they approve and everything that they don't approve. Plus, it's a problem for them if they approve something in general, right? They can't just come out and say, yeah, I don't give a fuck if you parse DPS. I don't care. Go ahead, use ACT. It's an approved tool. They can't just do that. Here's the thing. For me, what really grinds my...
Yeah, what grinds my gears right now is not getting how like other MMOs can just use DPS add-ons and all that stuff, and they're like completely fine with it. But if you do this in Final Fantasy XIV, they're really strict about it. I mean, it does have something good about it because there's like less discrimination, and I know that Final Fantasy XIV is right now the most social MMO where there cannot be any form of discrimination, or you cannot like insult players for messing up dungeons. Like, you know what's like ridiculous? It's like really funny. Like, have you ever had, like, if you have been playing like other MMOs like ESO or WoW, have you ever had like this one guy in the group, if you were like, let's say, pugging, that constantly messed up mechanics, and after the third or fourth wipe, you like ended up kicking this person? Like, I have experienced with groups this quite many times in different MMOs, right? But if you do this in Final Fantasy XIV and someone makes your group wipe 3-4 times and you freak out and you said, you idiot, what did you do here? You actually could get banned for that, for calling out someone for messing up mechanics. So you have to be really, really careful in FF14 if you're using Group Finder. If you have friends, then better do dungeons with friends, because if you rage at some player, like, you could get banned for that. Like, it's okay in all the MMOs, but not in FF14, so be careful. And by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more MMO content, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out any new videos. But yeah, let me know in the comment section if you've experienced this with groups where someone makes your group wipe all the time and yeah, you had to kick him.
Use ACT, it's an approved tool. They can't just do that. Here's the thing. For me, what really grinds my gears, the person that they banned, that they made an example out of, right? They banned him in the middle of his DSR prog, didn't they? Here's the thing about that. That's just horrible. That's just horrible. Because
okay.
As far as I know, his violation was he had an add-on that was visible on his stream, and somebody reported him for it. And
yeah,
so
probably.
The Final Fantasy XIV response was not simply to say, "Oh, we're currently investigating these things. We're investigating."
He immediately got banned.
We didn't have to take someone out of the middle of their prog. And you know, this is the type of person who not only is invested in your game, but helps other people become invested in your game as well.
Because it's a big streamer,
right?
yes.
So you're out here just handing out a 10-day ban while they were on stream. For someone who is a hardcore raider, clearly cares about your game, cares about sharing it with other people, and your response was not, I should wait a month and I can give like an obligatory like 3-day suspension just to sure people know we're still enforcing the rules. They could have done that. Instead, they chose to immediately suspend for 10 days. I just don't understand why they chose this timing. And the people, yeah, that's another thing, Dark Archer. The people mass reporting. Why are we not talking about how that itself is possibly more toxic than anything I've seen?
Oh, that's normal.
Hardcore, parsing, whatever the heck kind of raider doing.
Like, this is normal. Like, I had people saying they want to report me for my language and stuff like that. Hey, you're cursing too much. It's not allowed and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, these days you have human beings that sit behind a computer somewhere on this planet that take pleasure in harming others. Like, there are some people that take like literally pleasure. They get off of someone freaking getting in trouble or something like that. Like, the internet is no longer a safe place. It has never been a safe place. There are always some people that want to see harm being inflicted upon you, and they take great pleasure in that. Like, I don't know what those sickos like, who those sickos are, what makes them take pleasure in that, but there are some mentally disabled people as well that just do crazy stuff online. Like, usually the majority of people is normal, but amongst like 200 viewers, there's always like this one crazy dude that would report you for literally anything, and this person is getting like maybe hard from this or something, has some sort of pleasure from you taking the blame or some issue from like a report. Like, there are such people online, so you have to be careful.
Mass reporting someone just because you saw an add-on on their stream is far worse than someone subtly implying that your DPS is bad. Yeah, no, I also don't think streamers should get special treatment. However, it's a little bit like it's the opposite, because for a regular person, they're never gonna have their screen shown, like in a public setting, right? So it's the people who are never gonna have their mods visible to anyone else that are never
Holy shit.
So it's really streamers who will...
You know what, guys? I have like this brilliant idea for streamers. So if you're using a DPS add-on, why don't you put your face cam on top of that DPS add-on? Because on your screen, you can still see the DPS add-on, but nobody else can see it, right? Why you don't just do that? Yo, Final Fantasy XIV streamers, those of you that are streaming, if you're streaming with a DPS add-on, just put your freaking face cam on where the DPS add-on is. Because they're just gonna see you, they're not gonna see the add-on, but you still can see it, right? Yo, that's a brilliant idea.
Suffer the most from this sort of thing. And I get it if people care less about that because, oh, it's a streamer, it could never happen to me. That's fine. I get it. Before I became a streamer, I probably would have thought the same way. But for me, it's just the sort of principle of the matter that we have a community that bands together not to do nice things, but to mass report.
That's the internet. Like I said, there are many sickos.
Checking their own DPS, and you can see it on the screen. That's something that the devs have indirectly supported with this move. I understand. And I don't wanna pretend that I know everything that goes on, like, in the decision making, because obviously I'm not a game dev, right? I can't know. It's out of my reach. But I feel like the proper response to these reports was to do nothing. Because how are you gonna suspend a guy and then put a message in your announcement that you're interested in having your own UI additions that are inspired from these mods that people are using? So you're fine with stealing their idea. You're fine with taking their idea. You're not fine with people using it in the meantime.
Because it's not official yet, that's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't get it. Once again, I feel like there are some people in the creator sphere who are having opinions just to have opinions, and we seem kind of split. I don't know. I'd say like 60% of people don't like this new TOS hammer dropping, I suppose, and then 40% are defending it. I just want to put my own 2 cents out there, not for clout purposes, but because I actually care about this sort of thing. I don't feel like this is something we should be encouraging. I don't think that people who parse are nearly as toxic as people make them out to be. And I say that as someone who started this game. I started in 2015.
Wow.
This is when I was playing on the PS4.
For 7 years she has been around.
I couldn't parse, obviously. I couldn't even know my own damage. I have never been griefed over my damage. No one has even mentioned my damage to me. The worst thing that I've ever heard was someone saying our damage is not high enough to clear XYZ trial, and then that person leaving, which
like, I do get this, why they don't want add-ons. I've seen this in WoW. There's discrimination with certain class specs. I give you guys an example, and I have experienced this on someone's stream. There's like this one World of Warcraft streamer that does like a lot of Mythic Plus runs and PvP duels and stuff like that. And one time, like, this guy is really nice. Like, he's such a nice guy. He always helps people. He helps his viewers and all. But there was like this one day I was like really shocked by his response on something. So he ended up on the group finder because he wanted to do a plus 15 key in World of Warcraft. And it was like funny because he had like a tank and a healer, and he was like looking for 2 DPS because you go with 3 DPS, and he was a DPS and a tank and a healer. And then there were like people applying, and they had like the same item level, like from gear they were like almost like identical. And there was a elemental shaman, there was a survival hunter, and a retribution paladin. And when he read through those applications from the group finder, which people he could invite, he saw the Retribution Paladin. He's like, oh, I'm not going with the Retribution Paladin because they're not so good this season. So, let's take the Shaman and the Survival Hunter instead. So what happened? There was some discrimination because the numbers aren't so good for a certain class this patch, right? So I think that's what they're trying, like what Square Enix is trying to avoid in Final Fantasy XIV, that there's no discrimination, or if like one class is like 2-3% DPS behind, that people are not refusing them to enter the group. Because if you have the choice between a player that has even 2% more DPS than another, then of course you pick the one that does 2% more DPS. Like, it's that minor, you can still clear basically, but you will go for the person that has 2% more. And I see why it's good at some point to not allow add-ons, but at some point it's also annoying, because if you're like a hardcore raider and you want to be perfect and you want to work on your DPS, you maybe want to be a bit competitive and compare yourselves with your friends and see if you can outpass them and stuff, then you don't have this kind of like eagerness, this drive to even get better and better at raiding, right? Because you don't know, are you now better than before? Because let's say you clear a raid and you clear it, right? It's cleared. The only measure of success, or that you can like measure, is you've cleared it, right? But you don't know how you cleared it. Was your DPS super high? Is there some room for improvement? So the next time you do the same raid and you clear it again, you don't know if you did it better than before or not. You can only know this if you do some parsing, right? Because you can check your DPS. Like, let's say you did 200k DPS first time, and then you are suddenly on 201k DPS or something. That means you have improved by a little bit, right? But you can only know this if you're using some add-on. But you can't use that, right? So like, I see where Square Enix is coming from, but I also see where those hardcore raiders are coming from. So there needs to be some type of balance or something. Like, those hardcore raiders need to have the option to somehow measure their improvement. Like, is there something they can do besides knowing if they clear or not, to see if they did better or not? And this is the problem, I think. Like, they need to come up with something smart to actually solve the situation, and it's just quite tricky, because I don't see any other way to solve it than to probably, like, just at the end of the day allow DPS add-ons.
Honestly, is that supposed to hurt me? It doesn't target me. It doesn't single me out. I've never heard anything that was targeted at me or even other people. I can say whatever I think. I can have my own opinion. I can say I've never been griefed by anyone over my damage, and that I'm serious. It's not because I'm just so good at the game or anything.
I never had issues too.
It's because people don't do that in this game. You're lucky if anyone types in chat at all. Ultimately, Yoshi gonna do what Yoshi does, what Yoshi wants. All I can do is sit here and disagree and say to myself, this is encouraging bad behavior from the community. It's not as if the person was griefing anyone on his stream, was it? It just feels completely unnecessary. Never had anyone attack anyone for damage, but had a couple of tanks fall to their anxiety and lash out to others. Yeah, it's usually things that are completely independent of third-party tools that cause toxicity in this video game. I understand the situation, and wow, I get it. I get why they come out and they say we don't allow third-party tools, because that means they never have to like design an encounter with those in mind, right? What I don't understand is why they're taking action in such a visible and I suppose aggressive way against people who are actually helping their game in the long run. And also, I was going to say, I feel that add-ons add a new layer to the game that give it replayability and more fun. Just
that's what I said.
Right? 'Cause I've never
like,
done
you
this
can measure
before.
improvement.
If I were able to see my damage, right? And I was leveling my job, and I noticed over time myself improving on that number due to changing my rotation. Theoretically speaking, I would feel a lot more confident in my gameplay. I would feel myself improving. I would feel more satisfied. This is to say nothing.
You experience growth.
Other types of add-ons, such as visual add-ons, which yet again also do nothing to people who are playing the game and have nothing to do with toxicity. I think the biggest issue to come from this is the amount of toxicity and sheer meltdown the community has faced. Their attempt of making a stronger, united community has resulted in arguably what will become its biggest split point. Yeah, Radgrave Tony, I'm shocked by how much this has like blown up the community. Like how much people are talking about this right now. I just saw everyone discussing it and I was like, shit. I was thinking people would just ignore this for the most part or be like, stupid streamer. I'm really surprised that this became as big of an issue as
was that with Pandora
Just
Box?
for what it's worth, I am on the side of people who are in favor of kind of just leaving third-party tools alone. Just
like what they also could do is like I think like the most like the biggest problem here is that they are strictly banning people and even like bigger streamers for doing that. But there's something that they're not keeping in mind. Like Final Fantasy XIV is having a new growth now after like some people got tired of their old MMOs, like their main MMOs, and they want to try out a new MMO. So a lot of people that are coming to Final Fantasy XIV, they come from games like, for example, World of Warcraft or ESO. Some come from Black Desert Online, and they come from games where there were DPS add-ons around all the time, and they've been using them for many years. So if you get this kind of new player base to come to your game, and then you suddenly have like all those strict rules like, oh, if you use this kind of add-ons, you get banned for 10 days or a month, or if you do this multiple times, your account gets terminated, and this and that. Like, the issue here is, I think they are too strict with the punishing. What they also could do, but I'm not sure if this is possible from a technological view, is it not possible to not make those add-ons function in the game, to have some kind of like anti-add-on software or something in game? Like, is there no way to like destroy add-ons to not make them function within Final Fantasy XIV? I'm not sure if this is possible from a technological view, but it would be better if they make it so in this game add-ons don't work, or they can just, if someone gets reported, terminate those add-ons or turn them off somehow instead of banning the people. Because you're still sending out a signal, no, it's not welcome, it's not appreciated, and we're gonna do something about it, but we're not gonna ban you for a long time or something. So kind of like decrease the amount of punishment, like make it not so punishing. Give like a little punishment only, or at most like 1 or 2 days ban at most. But make it to where people don't suffer too much, because there are so many people coming from games where it was a habit and they always used it, and now they're in a new MMO and suddenly they can't use this anymore. I feel like a lot of people, they have struggles to not play with that because this is all that they know, right? So yeah, I think they need to do something about the way they punish people, or just make it so add-ons just don't work for some reason, like maybe some anti-add-on software that's maybe once a day scanning everything and just terminating those, or I don't know if that even works.
Just doing your best not to acknowledge them, not to worry about them. There's no way people are gonna stop using third-party tools, right? There's no way.
In secret, they still will.
Knows that. It's basically just a point where if a streamer slips up and something shows on the screen because they forgot to turn something off for a stream, or they had something,
just put your face cam on that.
Their username got leaked, something along those lines. People need to be super careful because we have a community that is just happy to go completely trigger happy and just report happy. I don't like that. I don't like that vibe. So I am hoping that this blows over really soon.
Not everyone is nice on the internet.
Spending Square going after streamers using UI add-ons are people who have #gposer in their Twitter profile and use RP mods. Great community hypocrisy. It's a power trip plain and
that's true.
Hey, yo, listen, my add-ons are fine. See, that's the perspective. My add-ons are okay. I have a Fuda add-on, but you have an add-on that tells you what your number is in the game, and that's worse. Add-on for me, not for thee. Why is it necessary to use anti-TOS third-party stuff to have hats as Vieira Hrothgar? The winner for me! You said it! I wasn't gonna go there, but you came out and you said it! Thank you. Thank you for being the voice for me. Here's the fucking thing. We have been waiting for 2 years. If not, no, has it been longer? Has it been longer at this point? 2-3 years in the middle of that somewhere? Over 90% of the hats in this game are not wearable by 2 races and 3 genders. Obviously, female Hrothgar are not going to be able to wear hats either. Like, that's a given.
Female Hrothgar.
But your hairstyles?
Holy shit, how would a female Hrothgar look like? OMG, it's like, are they gonna look like freaking walking in WoW or something? Like, I'm just trying to think, like, how would they look like? That is crazy, man. But yeah, what about like look add-ons? Because I know some people, they're using also like shaders and stuff, right? Could you actually get banned for that too? Probably, right? Because that also counts as third-party tools. So if using any like shaders or some sort of like graphics mods to make the game look even better, then you also get like punished for that. Holy shit, yeah, right. So that means if you're like streaming and you're using some sort of mod that makes characters, let's say, curvier, like RP mod, or something that makes like the light look even better in the game, or like the resolution. Holy shit, yeah, you get banned for that too. You have to be careful.
For the Hrothgar, the new Hrothgar hairstyles, that was insulting. That was borderline
OMG, that looks weird.
I saw them and I thought to myself, yep, looks bad, but I guess Hrothgars are used to it. And I went to the official forums and people were super fucking mad-y. And I'm like, as you should be.
Yeah, he looks dumb. Yeah, shit, like, it is very strict, and I feel like the people that come from other MMOs, they get like punished, because you can't just turn off habits immediately. You can't expect as a gaming company for like new players from other MMOs to come to your game that have been using for 5-6+ years DPS add-ons to just with like a snap of the finger like this, like, hey, no more add-ons, wow, I can play without add-ons. I've been using add-ons for the rest of my life and now I just don't use them anymore. Like, that doesn't work, right? Like, if you have been using something for like your whole life, how can you just suddenly just turn it off? Like, I'm not gonna use it anymore. So yeah, there needs to be some other solution. Like I said, they need to make it so it just doesn't work in-game for some reason, or there's like some certain updates that come, like, let's say once a month or so, that like something changes so the add-ons, they don't work anymore, and the people making those add-ons, they would need to like program those again and again and again or something. Or they need to decrease the amount of time that you're banned. Like, let's not make it a 10-day ban for the streamer, but let's give him just a 1-day ban or in a warning or something. Because I feel like the punishment is like quite high, right? Like 10 days for just using an add-on. Like, that's extreme, right? It's better if they get some warning or just a 1-day ban or something like that. And yeah, even if you are not a streamer, there's still a risk to be caught. So, like I said, be careful when you're doing this. Like, as long as they don't allow it, and if you really love the game and you can't live not playing the game for 1 day, then just don't do it. If you don't mind not being able to play for like a week or two, then do whatever. But yeah, I don't know, it's weird because wait, there's actually no add-on, there's actually no MMO that doesn't allow the use of add-ons besides Final Fantasy XIV, I've just noticed. Because every single MMO that I know about, they all have no issue with people using add-ons. There's no rule that says you get banned if you use DPS add-ons, right? Yo, that's strange now that I think about it. I think, yeah, Final Fantasy XIV is the only MMO that has that kind of rule. Or do you guys know any other MMO that has this? Like, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, let me know what you think about add-ons in general and DPS add-ons, like the passing. Do you guys think this is very, very bad for the game if people can do this and use add-ons? Or do you think it doesn't matter really, and it's actually even good if people can use DPS add-ons so they can work on themselves, their rotation, and improve? I feel like it's good if you're able to improve yourself, and I'm so used to DPS add-ons, I've been using them my whole life. I'm not using any add-ons in Final Fantasy XIV because I'm afraid that I won't be able to stream on Twitch or do any gameplay at all, because I'm still leveling some jobs. Like, currently I'm also grinding up my Black Mage. I need to get this one on the level of the Summoner, because Summoner is currently the highest job I have in level. So I would be upset if I couldn't grind anymore, so that's why I'm not using add-ons. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time.